David Bloom was committed, compelling, and courageous. On camera, he shined, so talented and tenacious, covering the world's biggest stories from 9/11
40 more stories of concrete, steel, and iron crashing to the ground
to the U.S. invasion of Iraq.
This sandstorm has been pounding these troops here in the 315 Infantry.
Sometimes we look back and think about what it would have been like if he was still around, and I don't know.
I think he would have been going to the most dangerous parts of the world.
Yeah, he's
still seeking
that
those stories.
Sad news today from the front lines of Iraq. NBC's David Bloom, a husband and father, adventurous spirit, and our colleague, died overnight.
David collapsed while embedded with a third ID as it rolled north toward Baghdad. A blood clot from deep vein thrombosis traveled to his lungs. Beloved for his boyish enthusiasm, David Bloom was just 39, leaving behind wife Melanie and their young daughters, 9-year-old twins Christine and Nicole, and Ava, just 3. To the girls, he wasn't David, he was Dad, and a huge ball of energy.
He would carry the 3 of us up our staircase at the same time, with a twin under each arm and me on his shoulders.
Oh my gosh.
And he would pretend to lose his balance until we were all screaming and laughing.
For the twins, now 29, some moments are seared into their memories.
The last moment that we saw him, we were all like huddled in our front entryway in our house. We all held hands in a circle and said that our father, and he hugged us all goodbye, and then he got in his black town car and drove down the street, and he stuck his hand out and was waving to us like the whole way down the street. After he passed, I had like recurring dreams that he was coming back down the street in that town car, and he was coming home again.
Nicole shared with us some of her dad's last words to them. Always unselfish, he wanted to make sure his daughters were too.
So when you're missing me, as I am missing you, remember to say a prayer for all the other boys and girls who are missing their mommies and daddies too. And yes, my dear sweet girls, when I'm a little bit scared, I promise you I will remember you and your mom, and I will know in my heart just how much you love me. To the moon and back, right? Love, Daddy.
Years later, David's soundman, Bobby Lapp, returned to Iraq and brought home sand from near where their dad passed.
Makes you feel close to your dad even to this day.
Absolutely. A moment in time that really changed our family, and having a physical piece of that is really meaningful.
Seems like faith has helped all of you in its own way.
Yeah, absolutely. After he passed, I used to keep a diary that I would write to him. Like, it was random, but I would say, instead of Dear Diary, I would say, Dear Daddy, and I would just, yeah, and if I was struggling with something, I'd be like, can you please help me? And kind of like reaching out to him up in heaven.
So, who knows what this is?
Oh my gosh, is that?
Oh my goodness,
This is the Bloomobile.
Oh my gosh.
We brought David's girls and their mom, Melanie, to see David's dream, the one-of-a-kind vehicle he helped design to bring NBC's viewers to the war's front lines.
I'm so grateful that he was able to talk to each one of his girls and to me within 24 hours of losing his life.
What would David think of these girls, these women, today?
I think looking down, he's got to be so proud of the young ladies that they've become.
They're all just so beautiful and so impressive, right? It was such an honor getting to spend a day with the Bloom family. I've loved becoming good friends with them over the years. They're obviously all doing so well. Melanie has remarried an awesome guy named Dan, who has been there for all of their big moments, but really has always let David be their dad. They are, for anybody who worried about how those girls would do, it's clear they have just continued to thrive. They're doing so well.
Funny, when you're showing those images, I remember distinctly, because I was in northern Turkey, and everyone said we need to make a phone call to everybody who was positioned in another place, and they all told us about David's passing. And it was so jarring. I remember you felt like, I've never had that emotion before, but everybody out in the field had that same feeling, because we knew David, we knew his girls, we knew that he was in that position, and that group that he traveled with, those soldiers, loved him like a brother. I mean, they said no one would, because they were saying then who would go into Iraq with that group, and everyone decided nobody. Like, that place was left vacant for David, and they loved him like a brother, that group. I mean, and how is Melanie? I mean, we saw a little bit of her, but how is she doing?
Melanie's doing great.
Yeah.
I mean, she is really doing well. Dan, they have found this Brady bunch of a family now. Dan has his own kids, so it's this big group. They get along great. They come down to Washington each year for the Radio and Television Correspondents Association dinner to celebrate David, an award in his honor each year.
You said Dan had lost his wife.
Dan lost his wife in the past as well.
They found each
so
other.
they shared that. But just like to see those girls grow up and to continue to thrive. Nicole's now on a new show on HBO that's coming out, The Gilded Age as well. So these girls, yeah,
that's cool.
You'll keep hearing their names. They're doing great.
That was a beautiful check-in.
Thanks for being here. That was awesome.
Guys.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.